Well, hello there, and welcome back to the second episode of the Jay-Z Sports Report.
I'm kind of disappointed. I really wanted to listen to Panic at the Disco.
Dude, we're gonna have panic in the radio station.
Whoa!
Make up for it.
Crazy.
Ooh, zing! Hot transition right there.
That was a perfect transition, actually. That was really good.
I try. I work on it in the off season.
In the off season.
Yeah.
Is that you're like, oh man, let me think of some like snappy comebacks one night. It's like boom.
I actually have a list.
Oh yeah.
Like next to the notepad for today's agenda, I just have like 200 plus transitions for any and all situations.
For any and all situations. Like, oh, Hanson, let me look. There's this one right here that I think will work perfectly.
I'll tell you, one thing I'm really excited about for the show today is that I get the good station, the good microphone, and the good headphones.
Yeah, I get the jacked up ones like you could struggle with on Friday.
You
was funny.
The headphones that are falling apart and the mic stand that is duct taped together.
WC and you don't ever change.
It's great though. This microphone's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's now you know how it feels to be the number one pretty much. It's like being drafted number one is your position. This is me being drafted, Mr. Irrelevant, number 257 in the NFL draft. That's what the
dude that mic stand is like undraftable.
Oh my god, it is.
That's a CFL mic stand.
It's like Johnny Manziel right now.
Exactly. Cut. We'll get to Johnny Manziel. We'll also get to first round quarterbacks.
Yes.
But we'll also get to a player in the NFL that had his body repaired by a laser.
All right.
We'll get to all that and more, but first we got to start out with the Super Bowl. No games have happened actually since our last show last Wednesday.
Yeah. So nothing new,
but we do have the big game coming up. Well, I guess the Pro Bowl happened.
But who watches the Pro Bowl?
Nobody.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy because it's like a couple of the Titans players that made it to the Pro Bowl. They did some good in the Pro Bowl. So I was like, all right, great. Let's see how that goes next season, guys. Come on.
I was actually kind of sad. I had practice during the Pro Bowl, so I couldn't watch it. I wanted to see Teddy play a little bit, try and hold his own. But yeah, regardless, the Pro Bowl is kind of a crap show this year.
It's totally worthless. At this point, it's just totally worthless. We discussed this last week. It's totally worthless at this point.
Yeah. But meanwhile, the game this weekend is far from worthless. This game is the game. Yep. The Super Bowl coming up between the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton versus Peyton Manning. Zach, do you have a prediction?
It's Carolina all the way for me. And I think just how well Carolina's played, how they dismantled Arizona. And I'm sorry, Arizona's built in a similar way to me to Denver, whereas Denver has more of a running game situation because of Peyton Manning and whatnot. That's the other thing too. You have an ace quarterback in Carson Palmer on the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, the running game is kind of there, but you also have some pretty good receivers. Peyton Manning is injured heavily. He's old. Let's be honest. That is, and I've seen his passes compared to 2008 Peyton Manning to this year's Peyton Manning. I mean, those passes are wobbly. There's not much force on them and things like that. I think that combined with the fact, yes, he does a good receiver core. Yeah, there's a bit of running game there, but I think Cam's just going to pick him apart, apart that defense. And I think that with how scary that secondary is of the Carolina Panthers is Cortland Finnegan as one of your star cornerbacks. You have Luke Kuechly at linebacker who can provide pass rush.
Josh Norman, Roman Harper.
Oh my God, it's honestly looking at the 2013. 2012-2013 Seattle Seahawks with their defense. That was a scary defense. This is a lot, I think, scarier.
I think if there's anything that gives me pause, what's also scary is the number of people betting on Carolina.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that on from the Vegas standpoint. I think there's so many, no one's giving the Denver a chance.
Vegas opened up with the Panthers as a 3-point favorite, but so many people bet on them that it was either 3 or 4. They moved all the way up to a 6-point favorite and then up to a 6.5. So people are overwhelmingly still betting on the Panthers. I believe it's 88% think that the Panthers are going to win.
I mean, because like I said, I think a lot of people are getting callbacks to the 2014 Super Bowl. Yeah, that's what I meant. I meant the 2013-2014 Seattle Seahawks. And I'm thinking about the 2014 Super Bowl in which Seattle dismantled the Broncos. They just jumped on the Broncos from the get-go. To be fair, that safety, that wasn't them, but Still though, horrible way to start the Super Bowl for the Broncos, and Seattle just capitalized on that. Good defense. I was able to keep getting pressure on Manning. They really didn't allow that offense to go anywhere. And offensively, Russell Wilson was able just to have his way with the Denver defense. And that's the thing is that when you look at Cam Newton and Russell Wilson, they're basically one and the same. They're quarterbacks that can run if they have to, and more than likely will also run if there is like a chance to do it. But they also have such good arms and such good vision, they can pick you apart either way.
Exactly. And every time everybody in the country starts picking one way, I sort of pause and think, oh God, now I'm nervous. Because I was the guy who picked the Panthers much like everybody else, and now with the whole country going with me, I'm sort of
now
very
you're like,
nervous.
oh wait, do I really want to?
I think I think people may be underestimating Denver a little bit. You sort of have to with the amount of favoritism that the Panthers are being given, but
I mean,
the
only thing I think that will bite the Panthers at the end of the day, it is the fact that they just, and again, I always account for this in any series. You gotta look at playoff experience, and that's what I always say. Especially comparing this, like I talked about last week, comparing the NFL to like any other pro league. Okay, you in any other pro league, okay, like you can have one or two bad games, but then you can rebound from that and take 4 out of 5, and win the series and possibly the championship. The NFL, it's one and done.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to that thing where it's like one and done. And now you're on the biggest stage of them all. Because let's be honest, everyone watches the NFL. It doesn't matter if you're a hockey diehard, basketball diehard, you love racing, or you love baseball. You're going to tune into the NFL at some point and watch.
It's the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl. And it's like, again, with all that, all that pressure on you, we've seen that before too. In any and all leagues where it's like, holy crap, I didn't expect these guys to lose. But it's like, they're a young hotshot team. And it's like, look what happened. To be fair, I mean, going back to 2014 Super Bowl, Seattle didn't really crumble the pressure, but to be fair, I mean, the Denver was playing so badly that day. It's just like
they fell apart.
Yeah, they fell apart so easily.
I mean, it wasn't even a Peyton Manning problem.
You could even, I mean, like that's the thing. Like with that, it was a thing where it's like, I mean, yeah, they fell apart. So I mean, it's like if you screwed up, it's okay. They're going to screw up even more than us. We got it. It's fine. You know,
it's hard to beat that precedent set by the Denver Broncos
right.
2 years ago. There's got to be a floor somewhere of how awful you can do.
Oh God.
What I will say is that whenever I choose a football game, especially playoff games and championship games, I almost always go with the team that is more physical. Yep. That's what led me to pick Ohio State over Oregon 2 years ago, and not so much Alabama this year because Clemson's a very physical team as well.
I honestly thought Clemson was going to. That can be honest, that was a really good football game.
That was a great football game. That was a tremendous game.
It sucks that Alabama won. I mean, it's just one of those things where it would have been awesome to have seen Clemson won.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. I'll say that much about it.
But when you look at the physicality of two teams in a football game, I think Denver, they have that physicality to them on defense a little bit, but man, the Carolina Panthers, they're built on hitting you in the mouth and being incredibly physical on both sides of the ball. There's not a player on that team who can't out-physical the other guy on the other side of the ball.
No, I agree. And again, it starts with Luke Kuechly, honestly. With he honestly has a lot of that J.J. Watt kind of qualities in him that I really like. Like he's so big, he's so fast, he can put pressure on you at any time, and it's one of the things of as a quarterback, if you play against Houston's not the best team in the world. They're definitely not. But when you're playing against Houston, you gotta think, all right, if you're a quarterback, all right, where is JJ Watt at? And Peyton Manning, when he goes under center Sunday, he's gonna be thinking to himself, where is Luke Kuechly at? Where is he at? Because I know he's gonna do a pass rush. I know him,
And the tremendous thing is that he also can cover as well. He's become a tremendous. He's always been a tremendous cover linebacker, but especially in this past season, he's been absolutely phenomenal.
He's literally like your ultimate linebacker package.
And that spreads people like Thomas Davis, Charles Johnson, and on the offensive side of the ball, Cam Newton is the guy that makes that offense go and establishes the culture there.
Yeah. So I gave my prediction, Carolina. Who do you have?
I'm going to take Carolina as well, but I don't think that they cover the spread. I think that it's a tighter game than a lot of people realize. If one thing gives me caution to the Panthers, it's that the back end of the secondary.
Yeah.
While, yes, Roman Harper is a great veteran player and Josh Norman is playing out of his mind, best cornerback in the league this season. Cortland Finnegan, he has struggled a lot at times.
True.
Last week at Seattle, there were a few drives where you could have put just a Cortland Finnegan low light reel just based on those few drives. He played, I'll say it, awful down the stretch of that game. But that is a defense at the same time that was one of the best in the league through the entire season. I just don't think the Broncos are going to be able to keep score.
I think to counteract your point about Cortland Finnegan, okay, because he played at the Titans for 6 years. He was a really good player for the Titans in 6 years. He honestly is. But I'll be honest when I say this, though. Even if he does screw up, that's only one receiver he's screwing up on, and you know how Juan Rivera is. He'll switch it around. Because I'm sorry, Juan Rivera is a fantastic head coach. He'll know to switch it around to get the proper guys on whoever. So I'm gonna actually go over the spread. I'm gonna say just final score was I think it's gonna be like 35-14 Carolina.
Wow,
I have
a blowout.
I think it's gonna be another blowout. I think it's gonna be back-to-back blowouts for Denver.
I'll take Carolina somewhere around 23-20, around that neighborhood.
You really think it's gonna be that close?
I really do.
I don't see that happening. I don't. I see.
If anything, I see the score being lower.
And watch us come back next Wednesday and say, who thought Denver would win?
And that's the thing. Nobody. If the Denver Broncos win, that's going to be a surprise to everybody.
Oh, my God.
I mean, the same way it was with the Patriots.
Like
Nobody gave them a chance to beat the Patriots.
It's like when Holly Holm knocked out Ronda Rousey.
Exactly.
Ha!
Somehow I think this one will take a little bit longer than the Rousey-Holm fight.
Oh, yeah.
But it certainly will be action-packed.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe fewer roundhouse kicks.
Can you imagine Peyton Manning trying to hit like a roundhouse?
I could. Also, for what it's worth, the Achievement Hunter simulated the Super Bowl, and they have Denver winning on a failed Carolina 2-point conversion.
Really?
Yeah.
So
they have the Broncos winning.
I know. And EA actually came out and they ran their own prediction, and I think they had Carolina winning it like 2017. And I remember, and the other thing too, because I know some people are like, oh, well, those are just video games and whatnot. But it was like last year, EA Madden NFL 15 predicted the final score of the Patriots and Seahawks, and it also properly predicted that Julian Edelman would get the last TD catch, like he would get the game-winning TD catch from Brady. So it's possible.
Madden can do no wrong. Now, one player that will be playing the Super Bowl is Jared Allen, who used to be a Viking. I love him. He's always been a fan favorite. Good old number 69 over there. But he was not playing for the NFC Championship due to a broken foot. However, Jared Allen thinks that he could have played in that game because, get this, he took a laser to his foot.
And it worked.
Jared Allen sat out the NFC Championship game with a broken foot. However, he was doing drills on the sideline. He assured Coach Ron Rivera that he was good to go. Rivera opted to ultimately not play him, but he will be playing the Super Bowl because a friend of Allen's, Jay Glazer, who was an analyst for Fox, told him about this company in Arizona that does therapeutic lasers. I think their name is Theralaze.
That's such a stupid name.
So they sent one of these $135,000 laser machines to Carolina, and they lasered Jared Allen's foot back together.
Wow.
They lasered his broken foot. He was ready to go within a week.
Okay, so first of all, that's really impressive. And I think that shows. I mean, I'm one of those sci-fi type guys. That's awesome. Like that, we can deal with lasers now. And I'm gonna I don't blame Juan Rivera for not playing him because the game was already a blow. Like early on, you could tell this is gonna be a blowout.
Sure.
So I'm sure Juan Rivera was like, "All right, I'm not even gonna risk it right now. I need you for the Super Bowl. You're sitting out." I don't blame Juan Rivera for that. I know a lot of these guys they want to get out there and play, but head coaches know the best at the end of the day. But
they do. It ultimately did turn out to be a good decision because they didn't need him.
Oh yeah, but it reminds me of this hilarious story from Game Informer Monthly magazine. One of the editors, Dan Reichert, before he moved on to Giant Bomb, he was talking about how he got laser eye surgery. And the way that you were talking about it just reminded me because Dan was like, they literally shoot a laser in your eye and it fixes your eyeball. It's like, I can imagine, like, he was just like, they shoot a laser in my foot and it's fixed, coach. Let me go out there and play.
It's crazy. They gave an example of some UFC fighter who had a double ACL.
Oh.
And he had been in a knee brace for like 20 months. And within 4 days of the laser surgery, he was out of the brace walking.
Wow.
Something he hadn't been able to do for almost 2 years.
Ow.
But it's crazy, man. Lasers, they're the future.
Oh man,
Illuminati.
speaking of some sports stuff real quick. So watched was for the light heavyweight. Yeah, it was like 3 light heavyweight belts in boxing were on the line. Dude, this guy took apart his challenger. It was, God, what was I can't. It was like Sergey something against this other guy. It was
this
on.
UFC?
No, it was in Premier Boxing.
Oh, word.
It
Okay.
was boxing on HBO and whatnot. And like me and Mia were hyped about it. Shut up. Me and I were really into it. Like I'm a huge boxing fan. I love boxing to death. Like my family's really into boxing. I got Mia really into boxing, so now we always watch Premier Boxing Champions and whatnot, all that jazz. So yeah, we're like, oh man, this is gonna be a great title fight. This is gonna be a close and whatnot. By the 4th round, I knew the champion guy, he was gonna win. Like the other guy in 1 round, I think only threw 3 punches, and all of them missed. The champion though was just knocking him. Like I was like, how do you only throw 3 punches in 1 round? Throw.
Just get dismantled.
Pretty much, he got dismantled. I was like, man, that was rough to watch.
Did he even show up to the fight? Can we confirm?
No, he didn't. I can't confirm that.
It seems more than likely that he just sat that one out.
Oh man,
But
yeah,
anyway,
it was rough though. Yeah, but boxing's
Okay,
fun. Watch boxing.
Hey,
Boxing's
way to integrate
fantastic.
boxing into the show.
Boxing's fantastic. Everyone needs to watch boxing.
We're not gonna have a lot of those, so cherish that.
Right? Boxing's so much fun though.
All right, so Zach,
Next.
last week we got into a small introductory discussion about the quarterbacks in this year's NFL
from
draft.
Yep.
And I discussed a couple of the top quarterbacks, including Jared Goff, Paxton Lynch, and Christian Hackenberg.
Before anyone asks what that sliding sound was, John literally has a notebook full of draft picks.
This contains all of my notes for the
That's
NFL draft
amazing.
from the last 2 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next Mel Kiper Jr. right here. Because apparently he does like Kirk Herbstreit, so we'll go Mel Kiper Jr.
No, screw Kirk. Yeah, so this has notes from the Teddy Bridgewater, Blake
Wow,
Bortles, Derek
really?
Carr draft, and then it goes on there. So
You're pumped.
I'm big. I'm
You're
big
big.
into the draft, man. I am really excited
I'm waiting
about
for
it.
that day when you get that call up to Sports Center, like, bro, we could use you. You're like, yee.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. But yeah, and then I have the last year with Marcus Mariota. Had him as a top quarterback, man.
Hey,
You're welcome.
You know what?
And you got him.
Honestly, he is. Honestly, I mean, James Winston really proved himself this season. Like, James Winston is a great quarterback. Don't get me wrong on that.
Yeah.
He has really proved himself. He had his really bad games and whatnot, and so did Mariota. But I think Mariota showed, this season, a lot more poise. Had the offensive line been better, and he could have played all 16 games, I think Mariota would have been in the Pro Bowl, honestly, with how well he played.
I think he did play very well, especially down the stretch. And Jameis Winston, for as good as he was, I do think he's not going to have a great career. I think he's going to throw a lot of interceptions. He's gonna turn the ball over a lot.
The biggest problem I have with Jameis Winston is just that it's that whole thing of the disciplinary issues he had at FSU, the rape allegation, the whole thing with the crab legs that I think will never escape him. It's just stuff
Especially
like
being on the Buccaneers.
right, yeah, it goes on the Buccaneers of all things. Like I said, it's those kind of disciplinary issues that I was really wary about with Johnny Manziel, which we'll get to later. And like I said, for me, I'm still kind of wary about James Winston. But I mean, he proved himself this year. I mean, it's the second season for all quarterbacks that it's like this is really how you're gonna be.
Yes.
Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Cam Newton. I mean, I think Cam was really the only quarterback I think that really struggled in his second season. I remember when he struggled, and people were like, "Oh, he's gonna be a bust. He's gonna be da 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 da."
And
3
then he
years
went on
later,
to
Super Bowl.
rebound.
It's like that's what you gotta do. You just gotta keep your nose down, just do your work and whatnot.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, but like I said, the second season usually defines the quarterback. So I hope Mariota will just have a better season next season. So we'll see.
We'll see. Hopefully, for your sake, I hope it's a good.
God,
upset.
I hope so. I'm tired of the Titans losing.
But let's get to the quarterbacks that will be coming out in this year's draft.
Gladly.
Okay, so last week we talked about Jared Goff, who I thought was probably the best quarterback in the draft, maybe not even really close.
Yeah, University of California.
Yeah, University of California guy who has a lot to improve at the combine from a just purely physical standpoint, refining that arm strength and maybe getting that ball placement down a little bit finer. I would like to take back my statement that it's not even close. Jared Goff, I do think he's the top quarterback in the draft.
So you think he's top?
I think it's not a sure thing, but I certainly would take him before anybody else. The guy who we've been competing with is Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz from North Dakota State University.
Wow.
Do you know where North Dakota State University plays?
Is it in North Dakota?
No. Well, of course. They play in the FCS.
Oh, okay.
They're not even in a Power 5 conference. They're not even in a Group of 5 conference. They are outside of the FBS.
Wow.
So
He's
Carson
that
Wentz
good, huh?
from North Dakota State University, he is the second best quarterback, might be the first. I mean, if we look at him, he has arm strength and accuracy, and the ball placement that he shows, even down the field on outside throws, inside throws, deep balls. It's just incredible. He has an incredibly gifted arm.
So you're saying an FBS quarterback could be the second best quarterback in this draft?
Yeah, I'm not saying he definitely is at least second best. He might be the first.
That says a lot.
I've heard rumblings from the Senior Bowl.
Like
that,
could he jump the California boy? Or?
Yes, I've heard scouts, like a lot of team scouts, say that if Carson Wentz had a great enough week at the Senior Bowl in practices, a lot of teams say that he could not make it past number 4.
I have to admit, I think that'd be the first time I think in a very long while that a FBS quarterback got drafted.
Yeah, you want to know the last time an FCS quarterback went in the first round?
Love to.
It was Joseph Flacco of the Baltimore Ravens.
Really?
Came from Delaware.
Wow.
It's like
I forgot
the
about
blue
that.
chickens or something like that. The blue hens.
I wonder if he was like, all right, let's go. Man, this is such a stupid team name.
Yeah. Well, and when I think you look at Carson Wentz, you see a lot of similarities. You got the deep ball and the arm strength and the accuracy. I see him more of akin to a Derek Carr from a small school with that arm strength. But, I think he's great. For the record, I don't think any of these quarterbacks are ready to start immediately. I think they all, even Goff, who is probably the Teddy Bridgewater, the most pro-ready out of all these quarterbacks in this draft, I don't even think he's ready. I think he needs at least, probably a whole season.
Yeah, compared to Mariota and Winston, who were pretty much, you could tell they were NFL ready. That's one thing, again, with this class. That's they're really going to be NFL ready. And the thing that sucks too is that a lot of these teams that do need quarterbacks, they need a starter. And
The
it's
Browns.
Like,
The Browns.
Yeah, the Browns. We need to talk about them.
Yeah, the Browns are definitely they're in a market for a quarterback, which we'll touch on in a second. But yeah, I think that Jared Goff, something he does all the time, not all the time, but occasionally, that sort of makes me mad because he's got so much potential, is that he'll make the wrong read. Like if he's like, okay, I'm gonna throw it to this guy. Oh wait, he's covered. Wait, I'm gonna still throw it to him. Not go down the field a little bit.
He sticks with the guy. He doesn't try and like look for his other targets.
I think normally he's a great decision maker. I think that occasionally he'll make the wrong read, and the ball placement is sometimes inconsistent. Like if he needs to put it on the back shoulder, maybe it'll be closer to the body. Further towards the inside, that's more of a chance for an interception in the NFL.
True that.
And the arm strength isn't prime. Like I said, I compared him a little bit to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater was a smart quarterback, kind of pro-ready, but the arm strength was something that hurt him coming out of the draft.
True that.
And he, a part of it is he doesn't follow through all the way with his body, but, I mean, it's fine. He normally has arm strength on those intermediate throws. It's when you get over 50 yards that he begins to struggle. He's got accuracy sometimes if you hit around the 50, but anything longer than that, it's...
You know who does struggle with the arm accuracy around 50-plus yard throws?
Who?
Aaron Rodgers.
Boo! Aaron Rodgers, he struggles just with life. Poor Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, really? He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback who has had 2 Hail Mary winning throw. Okay, 1 winning throw, 1 game tying throw, and he's man, that Viking blood runs thick in you.
Yeah, it does. Screw Aaron Rodgers. For what it's worth, before we close out this segment, I want to mention that Paxton Lynch, who was the other guy considered in this group of 3 that we have this year, I don't think he's great. His accuracy was really inconsistent, and he throws a wobbly pass. I think when he gets outside of the pocket, his fundamentals just fall apart a little bit. He does move really well inside the pocket, but once he gets out, it's like the man can't really throw on the run.
Okay, so real quick, so I want to ask them right quick. So we're looking at the draft order right now. Also, the Titans aren't going to pick quarterback. They have Mariota.
They have their quarterback, yep.
There's Cleveland, San Diego, Dallas, Jacksonville, and then Baltimore and San Fran. Where do you see, I would say, any quarterback going?
Obviously, the Cleveland Browns are in prime position to take a quarterback, whether that is Goff or potentially Wentz. Now, assuming that happens, the Dallas Cowboys, they could be looking at the second guy. And if the Browns take the first guy and you still think that there's really only two guys, except unless you like Paxton Lynch, which I really don't, you're looking at taking that quarterback there because there's only one more guy. They could take Paxton Lynch, let him rest for a year. Obviously, Tony Romo is the clear starter.
Yeah.
But you do want to develop a guy, and Paxton Lynch has all the physical tools. You could take really either one of those quarterbacks there, assuming that Browns
you
take
think
one at one.
those two are going? So you think it's going to be Cleveland and Dallas are going to take quarterbacks? Well,
Yes.
do you think San Fran's going to take quarterbacks?
San Francisco's absolutely in the market. I don't think Colin Kaepernick's job can be a sure thing by any means.
Well, Blaine
even
Gabbert's
with
a
Chip
starter
Kelly.
now.
Even with Chip Kelly.
Yeah, Blaine Gabber's starter, so
That's true, yeah. Which is absolutely a problem. That's absolutely a problem. You hit on it right there.
Problem number one, Blaine Gabber's starting. Problem number two, Chip Kelly's head coach. Problem number three, the 99's Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, good Lord. If you're
That dude's
going
a
into the
mess.
season with Blaine Gabbert as your starting quarterback, then you absolutely need to take somebody.
It's amazing. I think 3 years ago they were in the Super Bowl.
It
And now
really
it's,
is.
You know.
That's
a
a
falling
testament
apart,
to
yeah.
Jim Harbaugh
Oh yeah.
and I guess the 20 players.
I
that left.
honestly wouldn't be shocked. Switch gears real quick. I wouldn't be shocked if Michigan within the next 2 or 3 years was at least playing for the national title game.
Yeah, they're very close as it is.
Oh yeah. They just need to go final little bits, pieces together. They're gonna be great.
They had a sort of a rough beginning of the season, but
Oh
then
yeah,
they
man,
bounced
that
back.
was oh man, that was rough to watch. I was like, yeah, Jim. Oh, Jim, why?
And his poor 49ers are left picking at number 7 in the draft, looking at maybe another quarterback if they can't get their once Super Bowl appearing quarterback back in shape.
Yeah, I don't think he can. I don't think Kaepernick's done like Manziel. I think we're about to talk about that sometime in the NFL, but I think I think Kaepernick's done with the 49ers.
No,
Some team I think will pick him up. I can see Kaepernick going to Cleveland or to Dallas. I could see that happening.
No, Chip Kelly's not going to save him.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think Chip Kelly can. Because I'll be honest, Chip Kelly is a one quarterback guy. You know who that quarterback was? Mariota.
Yep.
Because Mariota fit his system. That's what it is. So, like I said, I don't see it happening though.
It'll be really interesting to see what happens because obviously Blaine Gabbert is that's not your dude.
You had so many problems with Blaine Gabbert.
I was actually very upset when the Jacksonville Jaguars traded up one spot ahead of Minnesota to get him. I really wanted Blaine Gabbert in that draft. I am so happy with it.
You're happy you didn't get him.
It's not like Christian Ponder was too much better, but at least we went to the playoffs.
Yeah, about to say.
But yeah, if they cut Kaepernick, they admit that they have nobody. There's not really a guy, except for potentially Paxton Lynch, that I'm looking at that would fit Chip Kelly's system. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Like I said, is that thing where it's like Chip Kelly, I think, has such a specific system. And
Yeah.
It's just so hard to fit.
And you're seeing it now. It's hurting the 49ers because if Kaepernick, they decide, is not the guy, if he simply can't play in the NFL, I don't know where they're gonna go. This is just gonna be another wasted season if they don't have a quarterback.
True that.
And they know it. But,
Oh, 49ers.
all right. Let's move on to
one of the
next
big
topic. Yeah.
stories of the week.
Potentially the biggest non-Super Bowl story in the NFL.
Yeah.
Is that Johnny Manziel, the criticized and controversial quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, is now no longer the oft-criticized and controversial quarterback of the Cleveland Browns.
Yep, they plan on releasing him from his contract on March 9th.
Yep, that's I think because of his contract, like one of the earliest days they can do it.
Yeah, well, it's like, I think if I remember what I read was like the reason why they're doing that is to save on cap room.
Mm-hmm.
So
I even heard talks that they could release him as early as the Monday after the Super Bowl, depending on what they think about him. But yeah, March seems like the most likely option due to the financial.
I'm sorry, this was just, I think, a long time coming for him. I'm sorry, this whole thing with Johnny Manziel, it's gone out of hand.
The thing is, I don't hate Johnny Manziel as a football player. I think that he made market improvements in his first 2 years. But I don't think that the coaches liked him. They really had no reason to. He didn't play well his first year, and he certainly didn't have a great experience off the field. But he played all right when he came into the games.
Yeah.
Enough to show me that there was something potentially there. Not even that there was definitely, but he had the potential.
It's,
then he goes and ruins it.
Yeah, I'm about to say, it's one of those things where it's like he does have this great. It's one of those classic things where it's like he has so much talent, but he's going to squander it with drinking. These now 2 domestic violence disputes with his girlfriend,
both of which involved alcohol.
He is basically an alcoholic from what it sounds like. Even though he went to the rehab, seems like to be an alcoholic.
And I don't like to sort of condemn somebody because it's a problem that he has. It's a valid problem. But
agreed.
You know, at the same time, if you're in a workplace and you're running a company, you don't want an alcoholic, you know, basically running your business.
No.
That's what he's doing. He's
Pretty
running
much.
the Cleveland Browns on
Now,
the field.
There is a question, though, now, when it comes to Johnny Manziel. Where does he go, or will he land anywhere at all?
There have been talks. Several teams. The Dallas Cowboys, obviously, first and foremost, because
Jerry Jones really likes him.
they loved him. They didn't like him. They loved him going into the draft. They thought he was the number 1 quarterback. He was the number 1 quarterback on their board.
Huh. What idiots. That says a lot about Jerry Jones, honestly.
Exactly. And, you know, obviously they still like him. Johnny Manziel is from Texas. That is a very likely scenario. The Rams, they've been connected to everybody, I feel like.
Peyton Manning, Johnny Manziel.
Colin Kaepernick to some extent. You know, the LA Rams making a push. I've heard the Chiefs name out a couple of times. I don't feel like that's a really good opportunity.
The Chiefs would be weird because
Yeah.
they have. I'm sorry, it's a thing where I still think Alex Smith is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
He honestly is. Like Alex Smith is actually a pretty decent quarterback. It's people want to make him seem like he's the worst thing ever, but it's like, you know, he's not though. He's actually a really competent quarterback.
He's
and
responsible
Andy Reid,
with the football.
he has grown under Andy Reid. He honestly has. Like Andy Reid has done a lot for that team.
He takes care of the football. He doesn't throw for 300 yards, but he throws for 60% completion percentage and no interceptions.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, is more important than yards. I always value yards per attempt and completion percentage above total yards in a game.
Yeah.
To me, if you're throwing 400 yards, you're almost starting the team.
Oh, yeah.
You
No,
need
yeah,
to come
definitely.
back. Yeah. And you haven't been efficient with the football, likely. So, yeah, Johnny Manziel,
where does he land?
I was about to say he's got to go somewhere, but he really doesn't. He
doesn't
has
have to be
all
picked
of these
up.
problems. Why on earth should any team
And
really
it's
take a
the
chance
thing,
on
though.
him?
I bet you the Cowboys are going to pick him up, and they're not going to draft a quarterback in the draft. And the reason why is this. You look at the situation Dallas had with Greg Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Hardy had that huge domestic violence incident with his girlfriend. And then the photos... Now, okay, I am in total agreement that innocent until proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. I believe that with Ben Roethlisberger. I believe that with Patrick Kane. I believe that with a lot of these incidents. But when those damning photos came out of his girlfriend's like bruised body,
Yes.
yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I understand innocent until proven guilty, but those prove to me he beat her up pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think he should have been playing in this league,
I
at
don't
least
think
for this year, probably maybe never again. But
And I mean, then you have the whole thing. I mean, and I'm sorry, it's a testament, I think, to a lot of things. We look at Ray Rice. Ray Rice didn't play at all last year.
yeah.
I would not be shocked if Ray Rice is done. I would not be shocked.
I'm sure he is done because no team. I mean, he's eligible now. No team's giving him a call.
No, because the team doesn't need. I don't think a team needs him that badly. And that's the, and like I said, that's the thing. And then you look at Greg Hardy too. Greg Hardy had so many on the field and off the field issues with the Cowboys. He was yelling at other players. He was going to parties and things like that. Johnny Manziel didn't have those on the field issues per se. I mean, he did sign a $100 bill, which is like, geez, kid, you're not understanding this concept of fixing your image at all.
I like it. I like him being that rock star. I just don't like him being a problem.
But that's the thing. But that's the thing, though. It's he can't keep that rock star image from off the field.
Yes.
And the moment you can't do that, you're gonna lose your job. And that's the thing, though. I can see Jerry Jones being like, he's gonna bring in the fans. We can teach him. We do all this stuff for Johnny. Let's bring him into Dallas. All that jazz. I bet you that's what Jerry Jones is gonna do. And I bet you in 2 years' time, they're going to release him. I mean, Jerry Jones got an egg on his face, and people could be wanting it. Be looking at Jerry Jones like, what the heck, Jerry? And he's going to be like, oh, I thought. And it's like, that's the problem, Jerry. You thought. I hate Jerry Jones, the owner. I think he's one of the worst owners in the league.
Two things jump out to me when you were talking is that Dallas I do see as a very good possibility because they one of the things they pride themselves on is having one of the best resources for players who are struggling, like a Greg Hardy, like a Randy Gregory that they drafted this past year, who have struggled with abuse or off-the-field incidents or what have you.
Who was that one guy, that running back they had that they released in the year, like back in October? The one that's having like all those mental issues now.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I didn't know who you're talking about. The name escapes me, but he was the starter. Was it Joseph? It was Joseph Randall.
Was it?
Yeah. But they have one of the best departments like that in the league. Yeah, there you go. Joseph Randall released. But then also, if we think about Ray Rice and Greg Hardy, the reason that Ray Rice is not playing and Greg Hardy is not because there's too great of a difference in their actions. It's that Greg Hardy can still help a team, and Ray Rice, as an aged running back, cannot.
True.
I think you'll find that if Johnny Manziel, if a team thinks that he can help their franchise on the field, they're going to take a risk on him, not only because they think he can help their team, but he's also a quarterback.
And thinking about it, too, as well, it's like, I guess if he does go to Dallas, he will have Tony Romo to help mentor him in a way. But, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, to me at this point, Johnny just seems like a lost cause.
Well, and good thing about Dallas is that he'll be allowed to sit down and not really have to worry about going into the game. Unless unless Tony Romo injures his clavicle
again. Which is, probable because Tony Romo's an old man at this point.
That would
be
a nightmare.
First game, like Tony Romo breaks his leg, and
in comes Johnny.
Like, oh crap,
Johnny. I do feel bad because Johnny. We can take a look in this draft notebook here. I had him as a first round talent. He can throw on the run. His accuracy was great. He's got good arm strength. And like I said, he did make improvements his second year, but it is incredibly unfortunate to see how.
Honestly, Johnny Manziel reminds me of that old adage. He was a great college quarterback. He's not a good NFL quarterback. I mean, we've seen that in recent years. Jamarcus Russell, who was a bust. Tim Tebow, who's now an analyst for the SEC network. And now, I'm sorry, I say that with Johnny Manziel too. I mean, I say that with a couple other guys too, like Chris Locker, who the Titans drafted back in 2008.
Jake Locker,
that's who it was. I forgot his first name. Like he did okay. I mean, but he wasn't the best. Mm-hmm. It's just like, well, he's a better college quarterback. I mean, and look at AJ McCarron. I mean, AJ McCarron, he did okay, but still, AJ McCarron's AJ McCarron. It's like
To be fair, he was sort of thrust into that role. I don't know that he was ever ready. But yeah, you're right. Great quarterback in college, won 2 national championships, part of a third, I believe.
Yeah.
And, comes to the NFL as a 5th-round pick and is only a backup. But, like I said earlier, I do think Johnny Manziel, he has potential. I don't think he ever was able to show it fully because you could tell there was a game against the Steelers, I believe it was, where he just looked like the statue. You could tell that the coaches said, Johnny, do not run around. You must stay in the pocket at all times. Yeah. And he wasn't allowed to do what he does. He needs to go to a place.
Like Russell Wilson or Cam Newton or Marcus Mariota.
Well, the name that comes to mind is Tim Tebow because Tim Tebow needs a special offense. He needed the spread option. Josh McDaniels and John Fox were kind enough in Denver to provide him with that, and he did okay. Johnny Manziel needs a system that will allow him to move, that will allow him to run in the pocket or run outside the pocket, bootlegs, all these kind of action plays that allow him to have the same kind of success he did in college. The Browns were not great at that.
Do you remember when Tim Tebow went to the Jets?
Yeah. Do you remember when Tebow wasn't given a fair shot and my boy should have been the starter? I'm a big Tim Tebow fan, if anybody didn't know. I think he's one of the best just football players ever.
I don't know.
That dude's a baller.
The thing with Tim Tebow, I think he kind of panicked, I think, a little too much. He needed that proper mentorship that I don't think he got in Denver or in New York. But I never see him as being a winning quarterback like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Big Ben. I just never saw it.
It's a shame he couldn't stick in New England that one year after he was cut in the preseason.
New England,
yeah, that was his last stint. I think that would have been awesome to have him just stick around that environment and see, really, really great football done.
Well, sadly.
Sadly not.
Sadly, that's how life plays out, where it's like, well, Tim Tebow, to be fair, he's an analyst now, so it's like, I'm not exactly crying for the guy.
No, I love Tim Tebow. Let's move on to one of our second favorite sports is the National Hockey League.
Woohoo!
Zach, do you want to tell the NHL All Star story?
Oh man, I would love to. So, all right. So the fun thing that happened. So the NHL All Star Game, they decided to change up the format this year, where it's basically 4 teams, with 3-on-3. So basically, what is you have 4 teams: the Pacific, the Metropolitan, the Atlantic, and the Central. So it's the 2 divisions from the West versus the 2 divisions in the East. That's basically how it played out. And 3-on-3 and all that jazz. Fans got to vote for the captain and whatnot and all that stuff. But then something crazy happened because this left winger from the Arizona Coyotes who's not the best left winger in the world, he got voted in as a captain. His name is John Scott. He got voted in. Now, apparently, the NHL did everything in their power to make sure he didn't play. That, he went down to the AHL. He got traded to the Canadiens, so he went from West to East. But
so
then,
not even is he on the same team. He's not even in the same league anymore.
No, he wasn't even in the same league. He wasn't even in the same conference anymore. He went from West to East. But after a lot of fan backlash, the NHL allowed him to play, and what happens? He scores 3 goals in 2 games. In the Pacific, as with him as captain, wins the first ever NHL 3-on-3 tournament.
He had 11 goals in his entire career. He scores 3
in 2 games. That is the John Scott story that gripped the hockey world for a little while.
And it's a really great story.
I
like it.
It honestly is. And it's like, okay, I'll be honest when I say this. Do I think he should have played? No, I don't. And this is my reason behind it. If you're voted NHL All Star captain, but then you get demoted to the AHL, but then you're also traded to another conference, I'm sorry, I don't think he should have played.
Oh,
do
no.
I think the NHL did all that on purpose? No, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't think like that. I think, I don't want to think like that about the NHL because there's already a lot of problems with the NHL. But do I think he still should have played? No. Am I happy he did? Yeah, I am because it's great. It's a very heartwarming story and whatnot. Apparently, they want to take it to Hollywood and do a whole movie about it. So it's like, oh great, here we go again with Hollywood. But
I'll disagree with you. I absolutely think he should have played, regardless of what happened. He was voted in by the fans as an all-star. He got enough votes to earn him captain position. Hey man, go to Nashville. Party in Nashville for a couple of days, participate in all the events, hang out with the stars.
I mean, I understand that, but that'd be like if there was a let's do this. Let's say in Major League Baseball, there was a third baseman who got voted into the All-Star game, which I think is that is actually how they do it. In 2 weeks before he got demoted, let's say he plays for the Baltimore Orioles. He got demoted to the Norfolk Tides. But then the Orioles said, hey, let's trade that guy to the St. Louis Cardinals. So he's going from the American League to the National League. But the Cardinals reassigned him to the Memphis Redbirds, who are the AAA farm team of the St. Louis Cardinals. Do you still allow him to play?
Yes, he was voted in. So. He was voted in.
I don't see that because my thing is this: if a guy gets demoted, that means he's not performing up to that standard. For me, an all-star game should be you have been in the NHL, not AHL, not ECHL. You be the NHL for the entire season, and you just have. I think that credit alone should be for anyone. You've been in the NHL the whole season. But at the same time, it's also a thing where it's you have at least 10 points in the season up to the end of the voting and whatnot. I'm sorry, it's one of those things where it's and this is the problem when you put the voting power in the fans. It's great because you're getting your fans involved. But then it sucks, though, because how the internet is. You know how people are nowadays. They're going to pull some BS like this, and then you have to try and figure it out as an professional sports league. You have to figure out what the heck are we going to do with this now. And if you do the wrong thing, you're going to lose a lot of fans. And if you do the right thing, there's still going to be fans that are going to be upset.
Oh, I agree with that point. but come on. If you're voted in, you play. If you're voted in, you play. It's what the fans wanted to see, and it's what happened.
I don't know. Like I said, for me, I honestly think with this situation, I think you're going to see the leagues kind of now put in some rules you can only vote for guys that have, X, Y, and Z. I have a feeling the NHL is going to institute that, and I would not be surprised if the NBA and the MLB also instituted that kind of
Should
stuff.
they institute some sort of thing where it's a combination of fan votes, media votes, and coaches polls?
I think it should be something along those lines, but I
That's how the
think
NFL
they should
does it.
also set up stipulations. Like I said, you've played in the top league for the entire season up to this date. So let's say up to like a week before voting ends. You get demoted on the AHL. Okay, fine, we'll give you a break. But if you've been up in this league, even in the league for the majority of the season, you can play. If you have at least 5 points, 10 points, 15 points, you can you're eligible to be voted on. I think those kind of stuff needs to be settled because I'm sorry.
Disagree.
I'm sorry.
Disagree.
But here's my thing though. When I think of All Stars, I think Jonathan Quick, Corey Perry, Ryan Getzlaf, Alex Ovechkin.
John Scott.
I don't think John Scott.
He was the All Star MVP.
I mean, yeah, and again, that's the other thing. Like, he was named All Star MVP. Congratulations to him. He deserved it. Again, he played his heart out. 3 goals in 2 games. He played his heart out. I give him a lot of
Because
credit for
he's an
that.
All Star.
But I'm sorry though. I don't when I was thinking about watching the All-Star game, I wasn't like, oh man, I want to watch John Scott play. No, I want to watch Gibson and Perry, who are from the Anaheim Ducks, who made it to the Pacific squad. I wanted to watch them play. But if I was watching, like the East play, I want to watch Jaromir Jagr. I want to watch Corey Schneider. I want to watch Ryan Lundqvist. I mean, I don't think Jagr got in. I don't know about Schneider got in.
I don't think Lundqvist got in, did he?
I don't think he did.
I don't think he's played well enough. But
Still, okay.
Well, more to the
top
point.
names, top guys that have been All-Stars in the past. I want to watch them play. I don't want to watch a random left winger that everyone voted for who's only had 11 points in like 5 seasons in the NHL. I don't want to see that. I'd rather see the top play against the top. That's what I want to see.
I disagree. I'm on Team John Scott. John Scott, if you're listening to this, because I know you are, I'm a fan. I'm glad you got in. I'm glad you decided to play. I think you deserved it. You rock. You're my hero.
You know who doesn't rock right now?
Who?
The Minnesota Wild.
The Minnesota Wild. That's our next topic, actually.
Oh, man, yeah. The Wild have been playing
on my agenda.
horrible.
On my agenda, I have things like Superbowl, Jared Allen, quarterback draft class, Johnny Manziel. Wild still suck.
Is that last
That's literally just my
Wild
that's literally
still
just my title is
I like
Wild
that.
still suck.
So what is going on with the Minnesota Wild?
I don't know. They lost again last night to the Islanders in a
like
brutal
5-5.
3-5.
Yeah.
They had the lead. They jumped out to an early lead, but then they just lost it.
Ow.
They actually ended up pulling Devin Dubnyk.
Wow, they pulled Dubnyk.
Yeah, for they put Darcy Kemper in towards the end. I mean, it really didn't matter because
They still lost.
they gave up 5 goals.
See, that's the thing I think with the NHL, and I think this is especially true, where it's like you can pull a goalie. Okay, let me put it like this. Okay, this is true, I guess, for any league, where it's like even if your defense fails, you need the offense to try and pick it up, or if the offense is failing, you need the defense to be able to be the stone wall that it should be. If both those components fail, then it's not on the. And then I'm sorry, I can't really blame the goalie in certain games when it's like he's getting picked apart. Like I remember when the Ducks played against Chicago last year in the playoffs. And Frederick Anderson was in net. Anderson did unbelievable. Like, he was the stone. He was the rock. He was the core of that Ducks defense. He was unbelievable. But he couldn't stop all the shots. And it's like, I can't get mad at him for that. It's like when in the 2014 World Cup, when we played against Belgium, and Tim Howard had like 14 saves. Dude was on fire.
Yeah.
But we couldn't do anything offensively. And it's like, I can't get mad at Tim Howard for allowing in those 2 goals. I can get mad at Anderson for letting in those. God, in the last game, I think he let in 5 goals. And you can't really get mad at Dubnyk for allowing in 4 or 3 or whatever.
Or 5.
He let in all 5.
He let in all 5.
Jesus. Okay, I can't blame him for letting in all 5 if the offense is doing it and the defense isn't stopping this, the onrush.
Yeah.
I can't blame him.
I didn't watch the game last night. It wasn't on TV, but it was. I agree with you. To a certain extent, the goalie can't be responsible if the offense is just not doing anything, constantly giving up the puck like that. And there's other players on the defense too. Like,
Yeah.
It's not just the goalie against the world. But man, 5 goals. There has to be some extraordinarily bad defense in order to give up 5 goals. I mean, Devin Dubnyk is a really great goalie. He led us to the best record after his trade last year. He got us to the Western Conference semis, but man,
I think Dubnyk. I think y'all's problem is that you guys don't have a really competent backup
Well, Darcy Kemper, for what's worth, he's a starting quality goalie in the NHL, and for what's worth, he had 8 saves last night.
Wow,
and 0 goals allowed in his 11 minutes. But yeah, that's way too many shots. And Zach Parise, as much as I love him, I think it's true. Hashtag Zach Parise is bae. But he's only had 17 goals.
You can only be bae for so long.
He's had 17 goals and 11 assists this season. That's not Zach Parise's standards. And he's getting plenty of shots on goal. He had 6 shots on goal last night.
Honestly, I think it's a thing across the board. I think for the Wild right now.
Yes.
You know who has been playing great?
Your Ducks.
Hey,
the mighty Ducks.
I didn't know this. Since December 26th, the day after Christmas, 11-3-1. That's impressive.
It's been a very good holiday.
It has been. They beat San Jose last night, and Ryan Garbett, who they acquired from Chicago on January 21st, scored his first goal as a Duck off a rebound, and the Ducks downed their division rivals, the San Jose Sharks, 3-2. The Ducks really turned around.
Yeah, they are.
Again, we talked about this last week. Do I think the Ducks will make it to the playoffs, possibly as a 8 seed? Or like maybe up to 5. I don't. There's no way they're winning their division. I think Kings have that down lock and key.
Yeah.
I'm really curious.
It's a tough division.
It is. Specifically, it's
everything in the West is tough.
Yeah, much more tougher than you think it would be. But I mean, do I think the Ducks will make it in? At this point, they keep playing like this. They're a hard team to beat.
Yeah, they are.
They have Anderson and Gibson, who are 2 starting goalies as your starter and your backup. Garbett actually has finally produced, which is good. Yeah, Raquel's now on fire. Raquel's starting to produce. Corey Perry's starting to get back into form. Ryan Getzlaff keeps throwing up the assists and whatnot. The team's not starting to click.
Mm-hmm.
When you get teams starting to click, that's it. Look what happened with the Kansas City Chiefs. They 10 wins in a row to get into the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, a team can easily go in a run, especially in the NHL. It's less likely in the football league, but in hockey, you're right. You can get hot at the right times, go on a streak of 20 games. 20 games.
That's all it takes.
And meanwhile, the Wild, they're slipping the other way. It's hard to really see them get back to the top of their division or even close to it at this point.
I think we'll have to wait till March to see, about near the end of March to see who's going to be where, because that is only will be about, I think, only 2 weeks left in the season at that point at the end of March. So we'll see what happens. But at this point, so my Ducks may overtake your Wild for who has a better record at some point.
You're right. Time will tell on both of these teams and all the teams in the NHL.
True
but time will also tell that
we got
it's 1:50, and both of us have class.
We do.
In 10 minutes. So, without further ado, thank you all for listening. Reminder: video game show, the Super Uber Power Hour,
on Friday,
3 to 4:30.
Yes.
We should be on for the whole hour and a half, right?
Yes.
All right. So catch us there. This is also going to be on YouTube on the Jay-Z Sports Report. And I think Stove is going to stop by the Super Uber Power Hour on Friday.
Can't wait. I love Stove.
Check it out.
I love Stove.
All right. This has been a great show, Zach.
Yeah, dude. It was awesome.
Yep.
Top-notch show once again. All right. Thanks, guys, for listening, and we'll catch you Friday.
Peace out.